Hi, hello, namaskar. This is Nomadics in North America. In this video, I'm talking about Canadian PR, which is permanent resident, and I'm going to talk about how to immigrate to Canada via express entry, and I have detailed it step by step. I did not use any consultancy or anyone's help. I did my own homework. I researched online. I read through a lot of blogs. I watched a lot of videos. And then I prepared my own application, applied for permanent resident, and I got an approval within 4 months. And I wanted to share my experience to benefit those who is looking to immigrate to Canada. And I hope this video is useful to you, and if it is, please subscribe and like and comment for any topics that you would like me to create videos on. First, I would like to explain express entry is not the only way to immigrate to Canada. There are several ways, and express entry is one of them. There is a provincial nominees, Quebec selected skilled workers, family sponsorship if you have someone in Canada who is related to you, immigrant investor, self employed, refugees, caregivers, Atlantic immigration pilot, startup visa. If you would like to understand how these services work and what really applies to you, please check the description for the link, and that link will explain the type of services you can use to immigrate. So what is Express Entry? Express Entry is one of the services provided by Canadian government for anyone in the world to immigrate to Canada. I have divided the entire process into 5 steps. So the first step in the process is understanding whether you are eligible or not. How you can do that? You will have to use the link that I have provided in the description below and fill in all your information, and at the end the website will tell you whether you are eligible or not. So the first step, please understand your eligibility criteria and you meet the eligibility criteria or not. Second step in the process is entering yourself as an applicant to express pool entry. How do you do that? You need to gather all the required documents, and once you have the documents, you have to submit the application online. Third step in the process is applying for permanent resident. Once the application has been submitted for express pool entry, Canadian government will review your application, and if you're eligible and if they have accepted, they will send you an invitation stating please apply for permanent residence. And once you have that invitation, you will fill out an online form and submit your application for permanent resident. And fourth step in the process is getting an approval for your permanent resident. You will receive a confirmation of permanent residence once approved. And if you're outside the Canada, you will have to get one-time entry stamping on your passport. And that's the fourth step. And the fifth step is move to Canada and pack your bags and come to Canada. So the first step in the process is eligibility criteria. Canadian government uses comprehensive ranking system to determine your points, and your score will be out of 1200 points. And there are 2 sections. You can earn 600 points in each sections. First one is core, where you will be assessed based on skills, experience factors, age, spouse or common law partner factors such as their language skills and education, skills transferability, including education and work experience. And you can earn up to 600 points in this criteria. And additionally, you can also earn up to 600 points if you have a Canadian degree or a certificate or a diploma, a valid job offer from a Canadian company, or a nomination from a province or territory, or an immediate family member, a brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or permanent resident, or if you have strong French language skills. So if you have any one of these, you can earn up to 600 points. And I want to highlight few things today. One, when you're applying for your permanent resident, if you are in your 20s, that is 20 to 29, you will earn more points for that age. Once you reach 30, you will start losing 5 points every year. Two, if you are living in the US or if you have H-1B visa in US and working in the US, that does not increase any points in your system. Three, if you have experience for 1 or more years in Canada, that will add to your points. It will increase your points. Four, if you score less than 400 points, I suggest do not apply using those points. Try to achieve more points and then reapply. For whatever reason, if you cannot achieve more than 400 points, then I suggest you look for a different service to immigrate to Canada. The reason being, over the last few months, the minimum points that you would need to qualify is around 440 points. And the lowest an applicant had when he got an approval was back in 2017, and he had 413 points. And it has not gone below than that number. It has only gone up since 2017. If you would like to calculate your points, please see the description below for the link. So, after you understood your eligibility and if you are eligible to apply for Canadian permanent resident, you need to start gathering documents. And these are the documents that you need with your application. You can have all the documents when you're applying for permanent resident express pool entry, or you can have the first one, that is documents with application, and you can get the additional documents ready while you're waiting for invitation. So the first set is your passport, language proof, education proof, and funds proof. And 5 and 6 are optional. If you have them, that is great. They will earn you additional points. So the 5 is provincial nomination, written job offer is the sixth one. And that too, it has to be from Canada. And additional documents are police verification certificates and medical exams results. So first step in gathering the documents is getting your passport. I'm not talking about it because I'm pretty sure you may already have one and you may know how to apply for one. So I'm moving on to language test. What is language test? Canada is a bilingual country where English and French is spoken by a lot of population. So you need to prove that you can converse or understand either of these languages. If you speak both the languages, wonderful, you will get more points for that. And how do you prove that you know these languages? You have to take a test. For English, there are two type of tests or programs. One, CELPIP, Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. Second, IELTS, International English Language Testing System. IELTS is the most commonly used testing system, and there is no pass or fail in this test. You will be given score based on how you can speak, read, listen, and write. And if you score high, your points are going to be high. If you score low, then your points are going to be low in the eligibility criteria. French, there are two, TEF Canada and TCF Canada. And in the language test, you will be evaluated, as I said earlier, based on your ability to write, read, listen, and speak. So if you can speak English very well and you're very fluent, still I would say practice, because practice makes a man perfect, and you will score more if you practice and go. And how do you practice? You can get a lot of videos on YouTube, and there are a lot of blogs that talk about how to crack this exam. And this particular certificate is valid for 2 years. You can use it any point in these 2 years. Next step is education assessment, proving that your education is equivalent to a similar Canadian education. So, applicants who are educated outside of Canada, for an example, India, US, or UK, Australia, or some other country, they whoever have their diplomas from these countries must have their certificates assessed so that you prove to Canadian government that your foreign education is equivalent to a similar Canadian education. What you need to do to get this assessment done, you need to have your transcripts and degree certificates, and you must submit that to the designated organization that I have listed on the left side. So, how do you get your transcripts? Contact your college or university, ask them how to get the transcripts and degree certificates for immigration, and they will tell you. Most of the time, it is either via a form that needs to be filled online, or email them, or send someone in person to get the transcripts. So once you get the transcripts, make sure you do not open the seal to see what's inside. If you open the seal, it becomes invalid. So you have to just take the envelope that is sent by your college or university and put that in an envelope and send it to an organization that you choose to evaluate the credentials. And if you look at the designated organizations, there are 5 of them, and I have also listed the fees. The most popular one that is used today is World Education Services, and I use that one. Next step in the process is proving that you have funds. Once you know you are eligible to apply for Canadian PR, you must start securing funds, because you need to prove to Canadian government that you can support yourself and your family when you come here. You can't use your site or house or gold documents and say, I do have funds. The funds that what Canadian government is looking for is cash in your account. So you must have the required amount in your bank or financial institution. So these funds must be available when you apply for a PR, when Canada issues a permanent resident visa, and when you immigrate to Canada. When you immigrate, immigration officer will look at that paper. And how do you get this one? So visit your bank or financial institution wherever you're keeping your money, and make sure you tell them that you need proof of funds for immigration purpose, and provide details of what you need. And they will print it on their letterhead and provide it to you. And what are the information that you need? You need their contact information, your full name, and any kinds of debts you may have with their institution. And also you need to have details of your current bank or investment account numbers, when the account was opened, what's the balance of each account, and what's the average balance for the past 6 months. So key thing here is average balance. You need to maintain the average balance for at least 6 months. And how much fund do you really need? If you look at the table that I have just shown on the left side, that tells you for one person it's 12,669 CAD, and use the conversion rate to convert to the currency you need. And for 2 people, 15,772, and extra, etc., etc., etc. So after 7 people, for any each additional family member, add 3,414 Canadian dollars, and make sure you secure that fund. Next document I have talked about is provincial nominee. This is optional, not everybody will have it, and this is entirely a different process. So what's provincial nominee? Provincial nominee is a non-express entry stream where specific province or a territory nominate you for permanent residence for meeting requirements of that particular province. So first you have to apply after knowing that you meet their requirements, and request them to nominate you under that stream. And how to do that, please look at the description below for the link, and you have to visit each of their website to understand how to be nominated. Next, I'm talking about offer of employment. This document is optional. If you have it, you get more points, so that's great. If you don't have it, you can proceed to apply without this document. A lot of people get confused sometimes if they have recommendation letter from an embassy or high commissioner or consulate that is considered towards offer of employment, and that's not true. And also they get confused that if they have a work permit, that will also be considered as job offer. It is not, even if you have open work permit. Job offer must be in writing, and that particular letter should have details of the job, such as your pay, deductions, benefits, your duties, what are the conditions of employment for hours of work or absence. It must include all that information for Canadian government to accept it as a job offer. Background verification or clearance certificate. This particular document can be submitted even after submitting your profile in the system. If you qualify to get a PR, Canada will require documentation to prove that you have been in good standing in your home country and any other country you have resided for 6 months or more in the last 10 years. And let's say you have an applicant who is less than 18 years old, then you don't need to provide clearance for that person. So, for an example, your home country is India and you travel for work or vacation to Canada or USA, stayed there for 6 months or more. In this case, you need police clearance certificates from India. You need police clearance certificate from USA or Canada because you stayed there for 6 months or more. And this will prove that you are in good standing in the country where you stayed and you have not committed any crime. Or let's say you're just 25 years old now and you stayed in US or Canada when you were 17 years old. Then you don't have to provide police clearance for that particular period, even though it is within 10 years. When you submit your application, make sure your police certificate is not more than 6 months old. It must be less than 6 months old and must not be expired. It takes a lot of time to get a police clearance certificate from US or Canada or a different country other than your home country. So apply for it as soon as you decide to go for a PR. And if you want to know the links, please check the description below and that talk about the process along with the average processing time. Next step is medical exam. Canada wants to understand you are in good health and you are not bringing any disease from your home country and you're going to spread it in Canada. So they want to make sure that everything is good. So you must have a medical exam from a panel physician before you apply for permanent residence. And if you look at the description below, I have the link where you can see who is a certified panel physician. Whoever is applying for permanent resident with you, they must also have to get the medical examination done. Personally, I don't suggest that you get your examination done before you get your invitation. As soon as you get your invitation, apply for it, and it will take 1 or 2 weeks, and get the examination results, attach it along with your other documents, and apply for permanent resident. The results of your exam must be valid at the time when you submit your application for permanent residence and when you arrive in Canada. Once you submit your application for express pool entry, Canadian government will review your application and decide whether they would like to approve your application or not. If they approve it, they will contact you and they will send you an invitation to apply for PR. So when you receive an invitation, what are you supposed to do? You need to fill the form, scan and upload documents, and pay the fees and submit your application and wait for further instructions from Canadian government. Normally they ask for biometrics and next they will send you a COPR, which is confirmation of permanent resident. And everything will be detailed in their next steps. They will communicate what you need to do. Final step. Final step is all about getting your permanent resident card and getting ready to move to Canada. Once you receive your confirmation of permanent resident, you must kick off your PR. It is only valid for few months, so you must use it before it expires. If you are inside Canada already, then just go out of the country, and when you return, make sure that you tell the immigration officer that you are using your COPR to enter, and they will take care of the rest of the formalities. If you're outside the Canada, you cannot just use COPR to enter Canada. You need stamping in your passport. So contact nearby Canadian consulate and get one-time entry stamping to enter Canada. And when you enter, use your COPR and one-time entry stamping and kick off your PR. In my next videos, I'm going to talk about how to apply for permanent resident card when you get your COPR, and also how to get your passport stamping and what all you need to keep in mind when you are moving to Canada. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel and like the video if you like it. Hit the bell button for notifications, and please update in comment section if you want me to create any specific videos.